Welcome, y buenas a todos. Me llamo Chela Cooper, and this is the Culinary Institute of Child Nutrition webinar for November 2024. Our topic today is creating custom recipes for your school nutrition program. For participants of our live webinar, the Q&A feature can be used to type in any questions on today's featured topic. You'll find the Q&A tab at the bottom of your viewing screen. You can upvote questions already in Q&A by clicking the thumbs up button. There will be time for questions and answers after the main presentations. Please note all attendees are muted and the chat function has been disabled for this webinar. At the conclusion of the webinar, you'll be able to access your certificate of completion in your iLearn platform user account. The Culinary Institute of Child Nutrition is a part of the Institute of Child Nutrition, the only federally funded national center dedicated to applied research, education and training, and technical assistance for child nutrition programs. The Culinary Institute of Child Nutrition was launched in 2018 by the Institute of Child Nutrition and the USDA Food and Nutrition Service to assist in meeting the unique culinary training, technical assistance, and professional development needs of school culinary operators. Please visit the Culinary Institute of Child Nutrition online to access our full catalog of trainings, as well as tools and resources to support the goals for your school nutrition program and school culinary operations. The topics covered in today's webinar fall into key areas 1 for nutrition and 2 for operations, and include USDA Professional Standards Codes 1100 for menu planning and 2100 for food production. The intended audience for this webinar includes child nutrition professionals who work in schools, including school nutrition staff, menu planners, managers, supervisors, directors, and school chefs, as well as state agency staff, allied organizations, and other school nutrition partners. Thank you for joining us today. During today's webinar, our school nutrition guest chefs will share their experience and expertise in creating custom recipes for their school nutrition programs. By the end of this webinar, participants will be able to list 2 ways USDA Foods in schools can be used to customized school recipes, identify 2 resources that can be used to support creation of customized school recipes, and describe 2 strategies to begin customizing recipes for your school nutrition program. We have 2 featured guest presenters today. First, Chef Daniela Villarreal is the Senior Child Nutrition Program Executive Chef at IDEA Public Schools. Chef Daniela is a graduate of Le Cordon Bleu College of Culinary Arts in Austin, Texas, and comes from a long line of matriarchal cooks. She has over 20 years of professional culinary experience, including 11 years in school nutrition. Along with her team, she feeds K-12 students at 143 schools across 11 regions in states including Texas, Louisiana, Florida, and Ohio. Also joining us today, Chef Stephanie Buentello is the Child Nutrition Program Culinary Coordinator at IDEA Public Schools. Chef Stephanie began working at IDEA Public Schools as a cafeteria assistant manager 8 years ago. She distinguished herself through dedication and hard work and advanced to her current position as Child Nutrition Program Culinary Coordinator. She has a genuine passion for the art of cooking and a commitment not only to nourish students, but also to nurture the culinary spirit within the child nutrition community. Welcome to both of our guest chefs. And now I invite Chef Daniela and Chef Stephanie to join me as we jump into their story of crafting culinary success, the power of custom recipes in school food service, and how to get started. Welcome to you both.
Okay, I didn't practice that part. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much, Chef Chela. And hello. Thank you so much for having us here today. And we're so happy to be here and to have gotten this opportunity to share with you all a bit of our experience on the topic of writing recipes. So today we're going to be sharing how impactful custom recipes can be in your school. We're going to talk about what challenges you may face bringing this into your district. And then we're going to talk through how it is that you could get started. Stephanie, would you please describe our district profile here? We're going to go a little into what it is that we do, what our school looks like, and hopefully that can relate to maybe what you guys are working with.
Yes, thank you, Daniela, and good afternoon, everyone. All right, so looking at our district profile, we have 83,000 students across 73 schools. Those are broken up into, or they include academy and college prep, which is why Chela said that really high number. But these 73 schools are across 4 different states. We've got Texas, Louisiana, Florida, and Ohio. Every day, we have over 60,000 students participating in our breakfast, lunch, and supper programs. We plan one core menu that our whole district follows, with 1 day per week where each of our regions serves something more typical to their area. And although we do serve 4 different states, being that Texas is so vast and diverse, we have broken it into 2 regions, giving us a total of 5 regional variations. And we also have 4 seasonal swaps per year to give our menu just a little more variety throughout the year. 64% of our students are free and reduced. We have about 8 to 15 staff members per campus, depending on the enrollment at their campus. And at the headquarter level, we have about 50 CMP staff members, and that includes a nutrition team, finance, operations, and compliance.
That stuff. So what I want to get into first with all of you guys is going to be the power of custom recipes, really just trying to drive in what it is to provide custom recipes to our staff and our students and how impactful it could be. All right, so first and foremost, I really want to get this to you guys is just to never underestimate the power of good food. When we think of what we're serving our students and what we want from our students, what our whole passion and career is about feeding our students. So, what do we want them to be? We want them to be good citizens. We want them to be kind to each other. We want them to feel happy and energized throughout the day. And we want to help them succeed really in whatever it is that they want to do. So at IDEA, our mission is to get all students to and through college. And honestly, when I first started as a cafeteria manager 11 years ago, I couldn't really say that I saw the connection that we had to that. But really, as I continued my path in child nutrition, I was able to learn how incredibly important our jobs tie to the success of our students. As we all know, and we all hear all the time, we want to have a healthy diet and how incredibly important it is. And when we choose the right foods, it can support things that are very important to our day to day, such as our gut health. Our gut health is something that's going to support many things, including our mental function. So, the mental function is what's going to help our students concentrate, analyze, and absorb all that knowledge that our teachers are trying to get to them. It's going to impact our sleep, which then impacts the energy that they're going to use throughout the day. It's what's going to get them moving. It's going to help them stay awake through those important lessons and exams that they have. And then food also impacts our mood. And if I know anything, it's that the better mood our students are in, the better their daily interactions are going to be, and the more motivated they're going to be throughout the day. But all of that aside, along with the general health of our body, I think something that some of us might forget is that part of healthy eating is actually enjoying our food. So eating a favorite food can literally give you that physical sense of happiness. So for those of you out there, if you can indulge me for a second, I want you to think about your favorite food. Someone coming up to you right now, same here. Have this elote, something our team members love a lot here. And honestly, I know that just seeing that, thinking of your favorite food is bringing a smile to your face. And if I was in a room with you guys, I know I'd be hearing, yeah. So we hear a lot when we think about our favorite foods, and really delicious food is going to give you that instant burst of satisfaction when you get it. And that's what we want for our kids. Right now, they're at an age where, yes, gut health and all that's really important to them. But what is it that they're looking for? They want something yummy. They want something that they're going to enjoy. That's what's going to give it. And really, our job is to give that to them in a way that they don't realize how good it is for them. And really, that's my goal. And so writing your own recipes will give you that power to provide that to your students. So to improve your menu is to improve experiences. And I'm talking about experiences from our students to our staff as well. I think that's something that important that we need to remember. So these are the different things, reasons that you might want to improve your menu. These are the different impacts that it can have. So customizing to your students' taste, needs, and preferences. First, like I said, we're feeding our kids. We want to know what they want, what they're eating at home, what they're enjoying, what they're seeing out there that they want to have. So that could be one of the reasons why you're thinking about customizing recipes to provide for them. The other thing is embracing community culture. So as Stephanie mentioned, we are across 4 different states, and Texas being so big, of course, and we think about the community that's around us and our families that are coming in. What are the things that they're going to like? Next is increasing variety and nutrient profile. So if we can improve and customize our recipes, we can provide that variety that our students are looking for. That nutrient profile, I will say that's one of the biggest things that I look at. I'm always trying to find ways to give our students just that extra bit of nutrients and minerals and vitamins that they may not be getting, every day from the things that they're eating anywhere else outside of our kitchens. Applying current trends is something else that you could do as well when you're customizing recipes. We just went to a conference back in May, and they were really getting down. It's like a really big topic, is like, what are the kids eating? What are our different generations wanting, right? So we had Gen Z. Gen Z's with us now. Gen Alpha's coming in. So they're looking at what Gen Z is doing. So we're having to take that into account, and we want to be able to apply that to them. And unless we're not doing our own recipes, we're kind of at the mercy of what is out there to give it to them. We want to be able to get ahead of that and apply that to our recipes for our students sooner, before that trend's done, Then staff skill set. That was the other thing where I was saying, improve your menu, improve your experiences for everybody. So we need to think about the staff sk set and who are the people that we have in our kitchens. Do we have traditional cafeteria staff who have been loyal to us and will be loyal to us to the end, but are really coming from a time where we didn't have a ton of scratch cooking, or maybe we didn't have a lot of the trends and the different cooking skills that are needed, like for today? Or are we bringing in experienced chefs and cooks? I will say that's something that I've learned being in school nutrition, being a chef in school nutrition, that's really blowing up. We're really noticing how important it is to have a little bit of a culinary background to make these meals for our students. And I'm seeing this in culinary schools currently. This is part of a career path that they may be mentioned, right? So we've got students coming out, and they might be walking into your kitchen saying like, hey, can I give this a go? So we need to think about who it is in our kitchens, who we're writing recipes for, and what they're going to be able to do. And then last but not least, district needs. I can tell you, IDEA, we've got a variety of kitchens out there with different kitchen styles, different equipment, the size, maybe even with your district needs, the food cost is something that you're looking at, availability, all of those things are things that you can improve, control, and customize when you are customizing your own recipes and menus. So here I want to share a little bit of our custom recipes. So just a few examples, and then I want to tie them back to what those experiences that I was talking about earlier could be. So starting off with our creamy tomato basil soup. So this one was born from just the desire to serve soups. And sure, there are soups out there. They're pre-made, they're easy to heat and serve, they're delicious. But what we did find was that they're heavy in the sodium, heavy in the sugar. So we really wanted to be able to, when I look at our menus, we think of what can we do to keep the balance, to keep the flavors and all that. And if we're using up all our sodium and sugars in a soup, well, that's decreasing from the rest of my week. So making our own tomato basil soup, and again, it's a speed scratch. It's not from scratch. We're able to control that and improve our menu. With this creamy tomato basil soup, what we did was we swap out the heavy cream that usually comes in a creamy soup, and we replace that with Greek yogurt. So it's probiotic rich. It's got more protein in it. So we're adding that to a student that may have otherwise not had yogurt in their diet. And then it's going to sneak in some pureed pumpkin, another thing where I don't think kids are eating, pumpkin from the can, but we're able to get them those nutrients, those minerals that come from a pumpkin that they may otherwise not eat. And it all worked together too. You can't see the pumpkin in there. It's pureed, just like the tomatoes that we're using. It's very similar in color. It's giving that balanced sweetness with that boost of vitamins and minerals. And the reason that this works is we're giving the students the soups that they wanted. It's familiar and it appeals to them. And then we're increasing the nutrient profile by adding the proteins and probiotics. We're reducing the saturated and trans fats from removing that cream. So all this for a soup using all the things that we already had in our kitchen as well. Second, here is our orange cranberry muffin top. So this one is made with a whole grain muffin mix. So if you guys have seen those out there, there's a plain whole grain muffin mix. It's like a flattened canvas. You can use anything that you want in this. What we did with this one specifically, we're adding an orange juice, 100% juice, no sugar added. We've got rolled oats that we're adding fiber with. We've got shredded carrots that, again, because it's orange, I see orange carrots. They don't know it's carrot, but they're still enjoying it, getting some vegetables in their breakfast. And then, of course, our dried cranberries, giving them that extra fiber and fruit without them noticing. And then the muffin top portion of this. Muffin tins aren't something that we commonly have, at least an idea. We've never had them in our kitchens. So we couldn't make our own muffins. I will say muffins is one of the things that we wanted to improve as well, because there are some heavy sugar loaves and muffins out there. But because I can't just say, let's buy everyone, 10 muffin pans, and then just to test out a recipe, we worked around that by doing the muffin tops. So they're just like the little mounds that you see here. And then from there, once we were able to see what a success that recipe itself was, I was able to convince our operations team, like, hey, we should get some muffin tins in here, and then we can, give them back the shape that they're familiar with. And then last but not least, we have here our red pork pozole. Bring this down. So this one is going back to the culture. This is a Texas one recipe that we have. It's all our cities kind of like along the border, and our San Antonio there in the center. And it's something that was requested. But for those of you that might know pozole, it can be pretty labor intensive. It takes time. It also takes ingredients that you may not always see in our kitchens. So we were still able to give them this by taking products that we already had, mixing flavors together, and and giving the students what it is that they're looking for. And in this recipe ourselves, we're seeing with modifiable contributions, again, thinking about your district, thinking about the grade groups that you have. A big bowl of pozole may not work for, our kinder students, but we can have that. We've got less of an MMA, but we still have some vegetable in there with the hominy, and we can double that up. Because I'm customizing my own recipe, we can move the needle on the ingredients and the flavors and the contributions. And as you can see here, we modified the sides as well. Pozole comes with toppings, right? You've got tostadas, you've got some cabbage, radish, cilantro, onion. And in this example, we used all those toppers to be our vegetable sides. Again, just more improving of the menu, using what we have and putting it all together for our students to enjoy something that they feel familiar with. And of course, our families from these regions are absolutely thrilled because they're like, wow, how did you make that happen at my kid's school? Let's move on to challenges. I know we talked about all the great things that we could do with customizing recipes. I'm sure you're here because you know that it's probably a good idea to start moving there if you're not already doing that. But Stephanie's going to go on and tell us a little bit about the challenges that you may face.
Thank you. Yeah, let's go ahead and move on to the next slide, please. Yes, so when we're talking about challenges, this is actually a really personal story for me because I faced these experiences firsthand when I started writing recipes. I love cooking at home. I am a home chef. When I was cafeteria manager, I worked obviously with the recipes prepared for me, but being on the other end of that, writing the recipes myself, that was completely new to me. I didn't have any experience with that, so getting started was daunting. But I just want to let you all know there are a lot of resources out there. I was also unfamiliar with the meal service regulations, so we're going to go over some of those resources that are helpful in getting you started. And then lastly, we also have a commitment to our students with allergies and other dietary concerns. We can't forget about them when it comes to recipe writing. So we're going to also get into a little bit of how we mitigate those sort of challenges. So when it comes to writing these recipes, I just want to remind you that you do not have to be an expert. You don't have to start from scratch. There's no need for that. In our kitchens, you'll notice that many of our items have preparation and heating instructions. For example, this pre-cooked plain drumstick, manufacturer instructions say you simply have to tray this out and heat it up. Easy. But we wanted to add some flavor to this blank canvas, so we prepared a simple honey ginger glaze to baste over our chicken before heating, following the manufacturer instructions. And being that this was a blank canvas, you can change this up to customize any flavor profile. You want to make barbecue chicken, or you're thinking about like an Italian baked chicken. This is a great place to start. And again, a really easy way to get started. USDA also offers a library full of different recipes, just like this bison and lentil chili that you see here. And bison sounds great. Personally, I've never had it myself. Sounds a little scary, but it's out there. And if you feel the same way, maybe this is a little bit too mature for our students and you want to change this out for a ground turkey, a ground beef, any protein of your choice, depending on your district needs, such as using up commodity products, that can easily be done. You're still going to follow the same recipe. You're just changing out the protein, right? So really, oh, and also, I'm getting ahead of myself, but recipes can be customized to the type of equipment you have. So Daniela talked to you all a little bit about our kitchens. They're all a little bit different. Some of them don't have tilt skillets, and so we made sure to include oven preparation methods to our recipes for those campuses. And then, just out of the blue, our tilt skillets sometimes like to take a day off. And so in those cases, our cafeteria staff already has that recipe written out for using the oven method. And so they can easily pivot to a different cooking method if their tilt skillets decide today I'm not working. And so these are just two examples to get you started. But once you get comfortable, really any online or cookbook recipe, your favorite restaurant, a side dish, these can all be customized to fit your needs. Daniela talked about trends, and I know that, if you've gone on TikTok, they have so many viral recipes that students just want to get their hands on, right? So those recipes can easily be customized with a few simple changes to work for our school service. And then we talked about being unfamiliar with meal service regulations. So there are also many places to find resources about meal service regulations, such as USDA, which provides us a meal pattern. And this is going to be the base for recipe writing, for menu planning. You can see here, it helps you easily identify what component requirements are needed and the quantities, and it's even divided by grade group. So you can see here, we've got every different type of component that we need to offer, how much is needed to offer minimum per day or per week. And so again, the base of our recipes, right? We also have the food buying guide, which is another helpful resource full of useful information. I love the food buying guide. And my favorite is actually using the food item search tool. This helps you figure out serving sizes, meal contributions, and this works for any meal component. In my example here, I've got carrots, so we're talking about veggies, but if you're searching up, a protein, a grain, or any other component, you will find it there. And if I'm writing a recipe for, say, steamed carrots, I would use something like the first example that you see here. And it tells me that I get 8.16 quarter cup servings from 1 pound. If I want to serve a half a cup serving, I'll just do some easy math, but you can also click on these different options and put in the serving size that you want, and it's going to take away all the guesswork and help you figure out how many servings you get from a pound. And this is actually helpful for me when I'm doing what we call desk recipes. This is my initial draft of a recipe, and I'm putting it together, and I want to make sure that I'm getting the component contributions that I need. And then once we get to the testing phase of it, I'll make sure that, it's doing exactly what I want it to do. This same food buying guide also has this really cool tool called the Recipe Analysis Workbook tool. This helps you double check your recipes. We use this often to ensure we're getting all the correct contributions for the planned serving size. It does take a little bit of practice, but here, all you're going to do is add the components from your recipe into the analysis tool. It's going to help you figure out what contributions are crediting. And with those results, you're able to decide if your recipe may need some tweaking to get the contributions you're looking for. You can always go back and change those numbers around so that you get the contributions that you want to work with. Next.
Sorry, I was talking. I forgot to unmute myself, but I was just looking at this and I thought this was just a really great example because you're showing the marinara sauce. You would think just like a half cup is going to give you what you need of your red orange, right? But because we added some onions and zucchini into ours, we realized you actually need a 3/4 cup to get your half cup red vegetable based off the USDA.
Yes, this is very true. We've come to learn that just because we want it to contribute half cup does not always mean that we're going to use a half cup scoop to portion. Very, very interesting. And lastly, we're talking about special diets and allergies. And when it comes to this topic, we work really closely with our special diets manager to make sure that we're hitting the mark. So we used to have a lot of individual recipes, but we decided to switch gears a little bit to make sure that our recipes are inclusive to the 9 major allergens. And of course, we still have one-off recipes. Unfortunately, we can't always get all of these in one recipe, But with inclusive recipes, we can guarantee that more of our students get to enjoy our meals, and that's really what we're looking for. So things like really easy substitutions, such as using a tamari in our Asian dishes instead of a soy sauce. Soy sauce has gluten in it where tamari doesn't. So this means that our gluten-free students get to enjoy our Asian dishes. And then we also have an enchilada sauce that we make from scratch. When we started preparing that one, we were working with a canola oil, but we found out that the oil contained some ingredients that were not allergen friendly. So we switched over to olive oil. These are just two quick and simple ingredient changes. This didn't affect the taste of our recipe or the preparation method, but we were also able to reduce the number of additional recipes we would have had to write if we otherwise didn't make those changes. And we've also moved to making most of our vegetable options vegan and vegetarian. So this change not only provides more options, but also addresses a variety of dietary restrictions. By offering dishes free of dairy, egg, and fish, we make our meals more inclusive for students with allergies to these ingredients. So for example, our charro beans are traditionally prepared with bacon, sausage, or ham. So good. But our charro beans, they're cooked in a tasty vegetable broth. We use tomato sauce and we use spices, still making sure that it's nice and flavorful and enjoyable for our students. We also have a homemade greens recipe, which is a traditional dish, typically prepared with ham for a lot of that flavor and the saltiness of the ham, right? But by removing the ham and changing up the technique of the cooking to browning the peppers and onions, we're getting a deeper flavor profile, and we're still offering an equally flavorful dish without the added protein or fat, right? And so as you can see from these examples, we're not sacrificing any flavor by excluding some of those traditional ingredients, but we are making sure that we're being more inclusive to a majority of our students. And once again, I just want to share with you all a few of the recipes that we use when we're writing our recipes. The first one being the base of our recipe and menu planning, which is the USDA meal pattern. This is going to help you with those component requirements divided by grade groups and also by the different components. We also have the food buying guide, which I love to play around with. This is going to help us determine serving sizes, meal contributions. It helps you double check your recipes with that the recipe analysis workbook. We also use our menu planning software called Primero Edge, where we write our recipes. This software is really cool because it helps to scale the ingredients in our recipes to any amount that our campuses are planning on serving. And so it eliminates any guesswork from their end, having to do any math, trying to figure out how much of an ingredient they would need when they're preparing meals. And then lastly, I wanted to share with you all that we also rely, for our menu planning, we rely a lot on surveys. And we have several opportunities throughout the year to hear from our most important stakeholders, of course, our students. And this helps us determine their preferences with so many different regions. This is really helpful because it helps us keep our finger on the pulse and just continue to understand what are those trends that our students are looking for? What are the foods that they want to see on the menu?
Thanks, Steph. All right, everyone. So hopefully at this point, you're really understanding that impact that you can make by customizing your own recipes, and then understanding that those challenges that you thought you might encounter, you totally will, but there's also resources that can help you through them. And hopefully we're, getting you to feel that it's not impossible to start even just like wherever you are. So to think of the steps that you're going to take to get here, I want you to remember that AAA paves the way. So the 3 A's here are going to be assess, assign, and actualize. These are the 3 main steps that you'll have to take to start customizing your recipes at your district. So let's start with assess. So of course, you're going to need to know your reasoning to why you're going to want to customize your recipes. Knowing this is what's going to help you get started, and it's going to help you identify where exactly you want to put your focus. So a good place to start is to figure this out is by asking yourself, a couple things. So one's going to be, what are your district needs? So again, who are our staff members? What skill level are they at? What's the willingness and work that we're trying to put in to getting these recipes implemented in a new way? We also want to think about what our kitchens look like. As I mentioned, our kitchens vary from campus to campus. We've got kitchens in our district that started off as warming kitchens, and we added a brazier, like still the same size, still the same amount of ovens, but yeah, we're trying to work through what we can do with that kitchen versus one of our newer kitchens that has an ample amount of space. It's got all the equipment that you're going to need to really get going on like a from scratch recipe. So you obviously want to meet in the middle. And then tool availability, we talked about how we went through making muffin tops, just to get through, to give the kids, what they're asking for, what we're wanting to get them, but working with what we have. And then maybe you're thinking about the meal service model. Not sure how you guys do it, but I know that idea. We're preparing our food and then we portion out each item so that the students can take the items directly from the line. So maybe you want to move to do something like that, or maybe vice versa. You're going to want to move from pre-portioning to directly onto the plate. That's going to really determine which way your recipes are going to go on how you're actually going to serve the students. The second question you want to ask yourself is, what is the vision for your future menu? Obviously, starting to customize recipes means that we want more for our menus. How are we going to improve it? What is it that we're looking to improve? And that might start with scratch cooking. Maybe it's not something that you're doing too much now. I know that it's been talked about more and more about how scratch cooking doesn't have to be as daunting as it sounds. There's something that's called speed scratch. It's my favorite. It's what we need in our kitchens. But if you're looking to start scratch cooking, I would even say that this is probably the best time for you to start scratch cooking so you can bring it all in together, introducing customized recipes to your staff at the same time that we're saying we're going to start doing a little bit more scratch cooking so they can kind of take that all in at once. Maybe you're looking for more variety. I know that, like we talked about trends and our students ever changing what it is that they want. Yeah, there's always going to be those items that the students enjoy, but there's only so many chicken nuggets that a kid can eat, I hope. And if you do find yourself wanting to explore something that our students are asking for, this would be the reason that you'd want to add more variety and write your own recipes. And then last but not least, maybe implementing local ingredients is something that you're thinking about. By going local, of course, you're supporting your community, your state, and then you have that added bonus of likely a discounted price, right? They're not using all that extra money to like get it from another place. So maybe local ingredients is what you're looking to do, and having the process to write your own recipes, you can start writing those local ingredients in. So I want to take a quick poll, and it's going to come out on the screen. You see it now. So the question is, what is your reason for wanting to customize your district recipes? Just kind of want to see where everyone's at with this. It is multiple choice. You can choose more than one answer. Maybe again, we're talking about customizing to our students, embracing our culture, increasing variety and nutrient profiles, applying current trends, thinking about your staff members, thinking about your district needs, all those reasons. We'll give you a few more seconds to vote on that. All right, so hopefully you've had some time to get that in. Let's see if we can get some results up. Awesome. I mean, yeah, number one, of course, we want to customize to our students. Our students are the ones that are going to be coming and enjoying this food. Then I'm also seeing increasing variety and nutrient profiles. The variety is going to get our students to come in and eat. The nutrient profile is going to get them secretly healthy. Yeah, those are my top two as well. I love embracing community culture, being in there and applying those current trends. We want our families to know that we're listening to them too. Awesome. All right, let's go to our next slide. The next A in AAA is assign. So we need to think about who. Yeah, Daniela, we're going to customize our recipes. Who's going to write them for us? So we do need to figure that out. Who's going to write our recipes? So of course it's recommended to have a recipe writer that's going to be familiar with food in general. Our current products, nice to know what it is that we have in our kitchens, the current state of our staff in kitchens, again, like those equipment needs, those kitchen sizes, and then our student culture. We want all of this in the recipe writer, but that doesn't mean you have to have all those in one person. That could be a group of people kind of coming together. But honestly, I would say, like, if you're interested in food, if you've read enough recipes, if you cook at home, I think that's already a great basis of someone that can start writing these recipes. Especially, you know, when I think about our staff, we've got a lot of moms and grandmas and family members that are cooking at home, and like, what are they reading? How are they going to take it in? That's the other thing. We like to write our recipes. We've translated into Spanish is really the other language that we need, and we're writing it to them the way that they understand it. We're clearing it up for them. Secondly is who's going to review for clarity and compliance. Of course, sometimes that's the same person, but you need another set of eyes that's going to look through it and make sure that those instructions are clear and concise and simplified. Again, going back to the staff skill set, who are we talking to? Who's preparing these recipes? What equipment are they using? We want to make sure that it's all clear to them. We also want to review for ingredient quantities that need to be evaluated for accurate contributions. So that kind of takes me into the next one, which is who's going to test the recipes. That will tell you the quantities and contributions. So of course, we've got recipe writers and school staff down there. So recipe writers, I mean, in our case, that's me and Stephanie. Me and Stephanie will go into a campus. We've got, again, what we call our desk recipes. You know, we don't have a test kitchen, like I mentioned. I think about it. So we have to do that from our desk. We're writing kind of in my head, like I'll do this, like a 6-inch pan is like this long and this big. And I think again, you know, so just based off our experiences, and then of course using the food buying guide, we're kind of coming up with that recipe. Then we go in and we have to test it, make sure it works and tweak it. And then I have school staff there. Yeah, maybe we're not going to give them that first draft recipe, but working with them, that is so helpful to us because they're telling us along the way, what are the things that they want to know? What are the things that are unclear? What's the verbiage that they use? And then they're just kind of seeing it made in front of you. It also is a little less scarier for them when they see us doing it with them, and all the work that's put into considering how we're writing it for them. So I think there is a range of people that we can bring in to write the recipes, review the recipes, and of course, test ultimately. Here's another poll. So what do you feel will be the biggest challenge you will face when writing recipes? See that poll come up, and you'll get to do multiple choice again. Brad. There we go. All right, so these are, again, multiple choice. You can choose any of these answers. These are all the different challenges that Stephanie mentioned that you may face going through this, and others, like having support from your district. I mean, of course, you yourself in your hearts of hearts want to write these recipes, but of course, you need that time and that support from your district to be able to move to that. Inviting staff, maybe even staff buy-in if it's not on here, for that feedback on the new recipes and their presentation, their preparation. All right, let's see if we can check out some results now. All right, right here, lack of experience writing recipes. And we I'll start there. When I actually started as a cafeteria manager, yeah, it was real easy for me to look at a recipe and be like, that's wrong. That could be better. La, 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 right? Like it was nice when I was on that side. But then I came over here, but I was actually, and this was, 6 years ago when I started being chef and writing these recipes for our schools. But I didn't even know where to start. Yeah, I saw the food buying guide. I will say that's one of those things. I saw the food buying guide and I'm like, I know they want us to get, 22 half cup servings of beans out of this can, but I'm not getting that. We still have to work around it. We still need to write what it is that it says, but at the same time, what we need it to work for us so that could be accurate. And then we'll be accurate across the board, what we're serving, what our leftovers are, what our food cost is going to be. Don't let that keep you. We can still do it. Allergies and dietary concerns. If you don't have a special person looking into those, yes, that's going to be quite a task to have to go and address all those. Again, it's bringing in, we could probably share some resources on that later as well, but just like where can we get more resources for allergies and swaps and all of that? I mean, it's going to take reading labels, reading ingredients and all of that. Finding the resources. I know that Chef Chella is going to share resources later to get you to at least those resources that we mentioned. Thank you for those. Let's go to the next slide. And then last but not least is actualize. So you're ready. It's written. Someone's going to put it into place. We really want to make this actualization and this implementation a really exciting time for everybody. So we want to let the students know, like check out what we did for you guys. All that hard work should be celebrated, letting the students know how it is that you've taken their feedback, what you've heard for them, and to apply it to their meals. And then the staff as well. Again, I think the staff at the end of the day, if we tell them what it is that we took into consideration, that's when they understand, yeah, we made it work to the best of everyone's ability and look at what we're doing for our students. So we really invite them to support you. I will say that's one of the things that we have in place. Not my favorite tool, but a very necessary tool that we have called recipe correction tool in ours. So it's an open like survey form where they can go in and tell us like, hey, this recipe says this, we're unclear, like make that better or fix it kind of thing. So that's how we continuously improve our recipes because we're writing a ton of recipes a day. So we want to make sure that we're getting it right. Last poll. So considering your district, I want to know what the most impactful way to garner excitement will be at your district. Perhaps you have a social media page, creating flyers, even if you're, if you're a cafeteria manager and you just want to make your own, adding announcements to the parent flyers and newsletters, inviting students to a taste testing event, setting up a space during parent events to personally talk to them about upcoming changes. Those are all some good ideas. And then I also have other on there. If we do have some other ideas on there, I'd love to hear those later. All right, let's see some results. Inviting the students to taste this. That's the easiest. It's right there, right in front of you, and you're going to hear it straight from the horse's mouth. Is that a thing? Is that what they say? We're going to hear it straight from them, how it is that they're feeling, how it worked out. And then there it is. There's your feedback. Oh, like, miss, it needs more salt. I mean, of course it does. What can I do about that? Like maybe I can add some more salt because if I'm customizing my own recipe, I'm going to find that salt somewhere in the week to give that to our students. Or maybe they don't like the texture of something, right? Like cook those onions down a little bit more. Maybe I don't want to see the cilantro in it, so chop it up. The students are going to be able to give you that live feedback. Promoting on social media is going to be a really great way for parents to hear about it, I'd say too. Awesome. All right, let's go to the next slide. Close this poll. All right, so yeah, we've come to the end of our presentation, just leaving you with those key takeaways. One, of course, improving the menu improves your experience. I promise that the benefits of writing your own recipes is worth the work. So don't let those challenges hold you back. Every adventure has its challenges. So starting with those simple upgrades, gathering inspiration from your favorite chefs and recipe outlets to bring it in, what can we do? Resources are available. Not only will Chef Jella be sharing some, you can look out there for yourself. What kind of resources are going to help you if you have local centers that can help you write your recipes or local chefs that have been doing it. I know here at Idea, we're open to anyone. If you need my help, send me an email and we'll talk about it. We can figure it out. I don't think anybody's out here wanting to let anyone fall behind. And last but not least, AAA paves the way. Don't forget to assess, assign, actualize. You're going to want to identify who the writers are, who are your reviewers, and who are your testers, and then ultimately invite all the stakeholders to help with that enhancement of your menu and recipes.
Great. Thank you so much, Chef Stephanie and Chef Daniela. All right, before we get to Q&A, I want to recap and share a few resources to support school nutrition professionals joining us today in our audience as you move towards creating custom recipes for your school nutrition program. The Child Nutrition Recipe Box is your resource for USDA standardized recipes and other quantity recipes from state agencies and school nutrition program operators. You can browse for recipes for school meals by recipe category, meal component, vegetable subgroup, sodium content, cooking method, or by breakfast, lunch, snack, or supper meal. Recipes on this site include recipes developed by state agency through Team Nutrition Training grants and recipes that migrated over from previous USDA online recipe sites like What's Cooking and The Mixing Bowl. You'll find the Child Nutrition Recipe Box online at the ICN.org CNRB for Child Nutrition Recipe Box. The Recipe Standardization Guide for School Nutrition Programs is a how-to guide on recipe standardization for school nutrition for school nutrition recipe developers. The guide is designed to be a complete source of information on recipe standardization from conception of the idea to implementation of a new recipe, including recipe verification, product evaluation, quantity adjustment, taste testing with students, and more. This guide can walk you through the process of standardizing custom recipes for your school nutrition program. You can access this step-by-step resource for free from the CICN website using the QR code on your screen. The interactive USDA Food Buying Guide allows for easy display, search, and navigation of food component and yield information for child nutrition program operators. Users can compare yield information for various ingredients, create a favorite foods list, and access tools including the Recipe Analysis Workbook, the RAW, and the Product Formulation Statement Workbook. This resource can support building and scaling custom recipes for your school nutrition program. The Food Buying Guide can be accessed by creating a free user account. It's also available free for guest users. And the Food Buying Guide can be accessed by computer, laptop, smartphone, tablet, and other smart devices using this QR code. There's also a free Food Buying Guide mobile app for iOS and Android platforms available wherever you download apps for your smart device. And finally, it is the season for planning for your USDA Foods in schools for school year 25-26. Although the USDA Foods available for 25-26 hasn't dropped yet, November and December are good months to review what's available to you from USDA Foods for direct delivery and diversions to processors, and to plan how you want to use your entitlement dollars for next year. Maybe your operation is ready to start adding your own custom spice blends to pre-cooked protein products. Chef Daniela and Chef Stephanie shared how they're using pre-cooked drumsticks. You could utilize the 110-080 oven roasted cooked and cut up frozen chicken, or the 110-462 cooked and frozen unseasoned grilled chicken strips to add with your own custom spice blends. Maybe your operation is ready to take the leap to seasoning and cooking from raw chicken, like the 111-361 frozen cut up chicken available through USDA Foods direct delivery. You'll find options for every meal component and vegetable subgroup on the USDA Foods available list. Talk with your state agency representative for specific options available to leverage your USDA Foods entitlement dollars in your custom recipes for your school nutrition program, including USDA Foods available in your state catalog and the USDA DoD Fresh options for your state. So now we've arrived at Q&A, and I'm going to stop sharing my screen so we can see everybody. And we have just a few minutes for Q&A. So one question that came up in the Q&A, Chef Stephanie and Chef Daniela, is a lot of folks were asking for recipes, and specifically for the orange cranberry muffin recipe. Is that something you'd be able to share with us?
Absolutely. We will share all those recipes.
Okay, great. So when for those joining us today, when we get those from Chef Daniela, we will put them on our on the iLearn platform along with the recording of this course, so you can access them there. Let's see, I have a couple other questions lined up for us here. There was a question about the USDA recipes that you used, and I did share the child nutrition recipe box. Are there any other resources you two are using to get ideas for recipes, just so you're not starting from scratch with that development process?
You know, I'm going to be completely honest. Oh, Steph, you go with
was-
yours and then I'll share my
Yes, I
honesty.
was gonna say, let me find my favorite website. I go on there and peruse all the time for inspiration. I'm looking through oh my gosh. Daniela, you can go ahead while I look for it.
I'm going to go first. I mean, honestly, I will go on Google, just
Mhm.
any search browser, and I'll put it in because it's going to give you just all the different ones that are out there. And I'll click through and I'll see which has the one that's closest to what I can do. Right. So again, like that honey ginger glaze. Okay. Yeah. Maybe I don't want to get like fresh ginger and maybe I can't get, I don't know, like Korean pepper flakes and things like that. So let me see if there's others, or maybe let me see if I can just customize this one. Because, you know, there's only so much time that we have. And I am seeing some questions about, you know, being short staffed. So some bloggers out there, they'll give you those ideas like try this, try that. So, you know, I'm not, you know, ashamed to say that that's where I'm going, because we don't need to reinvent anything just to make it our own. We can still customize it for it is what we need.
Yes, I did find the website too that I like to go through. It's called healthyschoolrecipes.com. You can like look for veggie sides if you're looking for an entree. It has yields, it has contributions on there. So those are really nice for some inspiration.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you
And I
so
think they're
much.
like who the state it came from. So
Yep.
also you can search it by that and you'll know that you're, you know, embracing community culture.
Yep.
That's fantastic. Another audience question that we got is around the survey resources that you use with your students. You mentioned that you survey your students and use them as a primary source of what you know, the kids prefer in terms of foods, flavors, and textures. So are those surveys you're creating yourself, or are there other resources that you're using to help you with that?
Yeah, we have a really great person on board who creates these recipes, or sorry, these surveys. And we started, I know that they can't probably come off mute right now, but we started with like using forums. Just Microsoft Forms is a really easy way to go. And they've added so many new features. And we do surveys just from simplified, like, how'd you like it? 1 to 5 stars. Then we ask them questions like, what would you like to see on the menu? And we'll give them options like, and so we'll kind of take from there also for our next menu, what is it that they're asking for? And then of course we've got the open answer boxes that we share out. And then that's also open to parents as well, some of our surveys. So I would say Microsoft Forms, and then I think Qualtrics is another one that we've moved
Mhm.
into.
And sometimes even when we're just doing like a recipe testing at a campus, if we do samples, we'll do a really quick little survey like, did you like it? Yes. Or did you not like it? No. And like you can put a sticker on the yes box or the no box, something really easy to give us like a quick idea on the spot of what they think of something that we're testing.
Fantastic. So we are almost out of time. I think we have time for one more question, and it's this. Um, What advice would you have for a school nutrition director who's coming into a district where they have primarily been doing heat and serve food, and they want to transition more to using recipes and scratch cooking? What's just one piece of advice that you would give to that person to where to start with transitioning towards their staff utilizing recipes and developing recipes for their program?
I think I'd have to do two little bits. One, use exactly what they're using for, but jazz it up. If we can just like add, I don't know, I'm thinking chicken nuggets is the first thing that comes to mind. I'm like,
Mhm.
oh, chicken, like boneless chicken wings. And then now I've got a variety of sauces that I'm tossing it in. So that way the staff as well, which is the other thing I'm coming to, is let's hear where they're at. Like, are they open to it? Maybe we can do a little bit more than just boneless wings. But if
Mhm.
they're going to take a little bit, I think I saw a question and they're like, they're not very open to it. What is it that they think that would be best for the students? Because I have noticed too, if they see that the students are really enjoying something, they're open to putting the work into it. It's when the kids aren't eating it that they'd rather not. So if we can really help them see the benefit for the students and for themselves, as well as just taking what they already know with small steps, that would be it.
Thank you. Chef Stephanie, do you have anything to add?
No, I think Daniela said it all. And I'm just thinking about when I was still cafeteria manager and we were transitioning into more scratch cooking. And like Daniela said, there were a lot of feelings about it, but we did start
Mm.
small like that, or maybe even starting with your veggie sides, something quick like tossing your baby carrots in some spices and warming them up in the oven. And when you're starting small like that, by the time they know it, they're doing a lot more scratch cooking than they realized.
Mhm. Wonderful. Thank you so much, Chef Daniela and Chef Stephanie. That is all the time that we have for Q&A today. I'd like to thank our guests, Chef Daniela Villarreal and Chef Stephanie Buentello from the IDEA Public Schools for presenting on today's webinar. Muchas gracias, amigas. Before we sign
Yes.
off for the day, I have a few announcements from CICN. The CICN website has a wide range of school culinary trainings and resources to help support the culinary goals and operations of your child nutrition programs. Explore the CICN face-to-face culinary training offerings, including the Menus of Flavor culinary training series and the new CICN Presents culinary training series. Discover the Culinary Quick Bites short format culinary trainings to provide your staff with 15-minute bursts of on-the-job training in topic areas including basic food prep skills, basic cooking techniques, knife skills, and flavor building. You can also browse our grab-and-go recipes and other resources to support your school nutrition culinary operations. Find all of that and more at theicn.org/CICN. Are you using iLearn for continuing education for yourself and your staff? iLearn provides self-paced free online learning for child nutrition professionals, including recordings of past CICN webinars and the new Let's Cook culinary training series. iLearn offers users the flexibility to complete online courses at their own pace in multiple sessions on desktop, laptop, or mobile devices. Users can access their certificates of completion for all courses in their free users account to help keep track of annual USDA professional standards training hours. The iLearn at ICN mobile app is also available for free download for iOS and Android devices wherever you download your apps for those devices. You can follow ICN on social media and sign up for our newsletter to stay in touch. Contact us by email at helpdesk@theicn.org and by phone at 800-321-3054 for general questions, assistance with training requests, and anything else related to child nutrition programs. Thank you again very much to our presenters, Chef Daniela Villarreal and Chef Stephanie Buentello of IDEA Public Schools for their presentations on creating custom recipes in school nutrition programs. And thank you to all of you, child nutrition and school culinary professionals, for joining us today. I'm Chef Chella Cooper from the Culinary Institute of Child Nutrition. Thank you y gracias a todos. This concludes today's CICN webinar.